From 12 News, this is Newsmakers.
Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Ted Nesi. Tim White is off this week. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by the Boston Globe's Samantha Gross for a preview of the key races you want to watch in the upcoming Massachusetts primary election. But first, you may have noticed JPMorgan Chase Bank has been opening new branches all over southern New England as the bank makes an expansion push locally. Earlier this month, Chase's powerful longtime CEO Jamie Dimon was here in Providence to visit a local branch. While Dimon was here, I sat down with him to discuss the outlook for the economy and what his plans are in Rhode Island. Here's our conversation. Jamie Dimon, thanks for taking a few minutes to sit down with us while you're here in Providence.
Thrilled to be here.
So you run the country's largest bank. You're one of the nation's most visible CEOs. Why are you in Olneyville today?
Yeah, so every year, we do it all the time, we hit the road, but every year we kind of get casual, go on the road, go to new parts, new towns we haven't been in. We're expanding. So we're expanding in Providence. We got big dreams. We bring in a branch, we bring in private banking and commercial banking and small business banking and Chase Wealth Management, etc. We get to hang out with our own people. We learn a lot on the road, and that's why I'm here. We're thrilled to be open this branch. To have a new branch here.
So it's 2022. We see many banks shrinking their branch footprint. My generation, many of us have opened our accounts online at banks with no physical presence in the places where we live. Why do you still think it's valuable to be investing? You clearly invested real money in this branch here in Providence. Why do you think it's still worth it?
You see, what happens in life, I think every day 800,000 people visit our branches. They need to. They want to. They want to visit their money. They want to sit down with a banker sometimes. So remember, this branch is going to do small business. It's going to do wealth management. It's going to do mortgages. So there's a lot of advice. So over time, the branches have changed. A lot less what I call operational, like just transactions and tellers. So fewer tellers, more advisors. And it works. It's, remember, we're doing business what the customer wants, not what we want to dream about. So we study all of this, and over time, the branch may get smaller, they may change a little bit, but you'll still see customers walking in. They want to open an account. They've got questions. Small businesses have to drop off cash and coin and all those kind of things. So it still works.
So you don't think it's going all electronic? You think there'll always be a place for the branch networks?
I think there'll always be a place for branch, yeah.
So I looked at the FDIC data this morning. Citizens B of A have 60% of the bank deposits in Rhode Island currently. We also have lots of smaller banks and credit unions. You guys are a little under 1%. What are your ambitions in Rhode Island? Do you want to to get as big as some of the big guys who've been established here a long time, looking for a smaller slice?
Well, we don't come here to do 1% or 2%. So, yeah, I'm not going to tell you exactly what the plans are, but think of our vision is much higher than that. And it's steady. We're going to grow over time. You can't hit a home run. Just to open this branch, you probably started years ago to find the real estate, to hire the people, to hire and train the people, to move people up, to get the technology in place. But they're growing quite nicely. And so that share will be going up every year, probably for hopefully the rest of my life.
How do you differentiate, though? People can just stay with a bank kind of by inertia. It's where you set up your direct deposit, and you just don't change. How do you get someone to cross the lines?
That's a very good point. Particularly when it's their primary bank, and you have your bill pay on it and things like that. And so, but the way you do it is great service. The location still matters. Great products, and sometimes the products. You might be a small business who loves what we can do for you. But when you walk in the branch, you like what we can do for you on the consumer side, so you switch that. So sometimes you love the consumer stuff, the digital, the credit card. In fact, very surprisingly, a lot of people know us through the credit card. Mm-hmm. So while we weren't in Providence physically, we were here with mortgages, credit card, auto.
I think I have one of my credit cards is a Chase one.
That's my point.
So around here, yeah.
That's my point. And some of these things get linked, and rewards get linked, and stuff like that. We're going to entice you to move everything you have here.
Well, I'm not revealing today whether I've come over yet, but all right, I have to ask you about the economy while I'm sitting down with you. Southern New Englanders, like Americans everywhere else, struggling with the rise in inflation. You hear so many explanations for why. Was it the Fed keeping monetary policy too loose? Was it Congress spending too much? Is it the supply chain issues? Is it foreign conflicts? What do you think, from your perspective, is the biggest driver of why we have this inflation?
I don't think you have to look for the biggest. You just mentioned the four. We know it's those four. Huge fiscal stimulus, oil prices, partially because of Ukraine, a rapidly growing economy, a lot of money was handed out, QE and stuff like that. That's driving it. And hopefully the Fed will get their hands around it. But right now, the economy, if you look at the economy today, it's kind of strong. People are still spending 10% more than last year, even though it's eroded a lot by inflation. So it's 10% nominal, 35% more than they spent pre-COVID. They still have a lot of money in their checking accounts. And while it's diminishing, they're still spending. And they're still going out to lunch and dinner and travel and things like that. So. But I also point out that in the future we have to deal with higher rates, which may be more than you think. We have to deal with, oil prices, still at 90, but they can easily go up. You have to deal with this war and QT and all these things. These are complex things, and so I guess we all are hoping that the Fed pulls off a soft landing. I wouldn't count on it, but I'm still hoping for it.
You employ a lot of economists. Did they see in the short term inflation easing? Do they think this is going to go on 6 months, a year, even longer?
I think the general notion is it's going to ease, but probably not the way the Fed, forecasts, which is like down to 3% or something by the end of the year, maybe 4%. It'll probably be higher because wages are still going up. Home prices, well, they kind of flattened out a little bit. What they call the rental equivalency is going to continue to go up. Commodity prices in a lot of areas are still higher than last year, even though some have come down a little bit. So it'll probably be higher than people think, which is why I think you may see the Fed raising rates more than people think. In fact, they were out warning people yesterday, don't expect that we're going to pivot like the implied curve shows.
So we saw last week's GDP report showed the economy shrinking for 2 straight quarters. You just mentioned all the other signs of strength in the economy. Where do you fall in this debate about whether we're in a recession or shortly going to be in one?
I hate this binary thing about recession. Their jobs are plentiful, people are spending money, people are still going back to work. It's hard to call that a recession. A lot of these numbers are highly distorted by coming out of COVID, by inflation itself. So the inflation adjustment itself makes the number come way down. So if it is a recession, it's not what I call a normal recession. It doesn't mean we won't have a real one down the road, but I wouldn't call this a normal recession right now. So
we have Senator Manchin's new bill. He says can address inflation and climate change simultaneously. I know you talk to a lot of leaders in Washington, and they call you when they're trying to figure out what to do. What do you think of that legislation? Do you think it's a positive, a negative, not a big deal?
I'm not. First of all, we're going to study every last piece of it. And one of the problems with legislation is it's 80 different things. And I'm sure, in some ways I agree with some, in some ways I disagree with others. I haven't weighed and measured, but I really think overall at this point.
So you've led JPMorgan, and I was reading your letter that you send every year, like the Warren Buffett letter. And then I had to look it up. 17 years you've led JPMorgan, and I know you were CEO of the predecessor before the merger before that. How long do you see yourself staying in this job?
The board has spoke to me about a year ago about 4 or 5 more years. So I still say that's the current kind of plan. Remember, it's up to the board. I'm an employee at will. I don't think people understand that they could fire me tomorrow. There's 11 board members, 6 of them call me up and say, Jamie, thanks for your service.
But come on, you're the chairman. The boards, I'm sure you have a lot of sway with them as you talk about.
Yes, but it's totally up to them. I think a very important thing is that the board, we talk about everything at the board. And also at every single meeting after we go through, they meet all the other senior people and they have free access to everybody, but every meeting I leave and they meet alone without me. It could be for 15 minutes, it could be for 5 hours. And very often they come down and say, I'd like to see a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. We don't totally agree with you in this issue, which is good because I'm just trying to do the best job I can. But that board is in charge. And of course they trust me and rely on me, but not to the exclusion of doing what they think is right.
Even the CEO of the nation's largest bank has to worry about his annual review. All right, Jamie Dimon, thank you for sitting down with us today.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
I should say those cheers in the background were Chase employees who gathered for his visit. I believe they were getting awards and praise for some of their colleagues from the managers who were in town to see Jamie Dimon there. Thank you to Jamie Dimon for joining us. Coming up, we'll be joined by Samantha Gross of the Boston Globe for a look at the key Massachusetts primary races you'll want to watch ahead of their September 6th primary in the Bay State. Stick with us on Newsmakers.
From 12 News, your local election headquarters, this is Newsmakers.
Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Ted Nesi, and I'm pleased to be joined now by Samantha J, Gross, political reporter at the Boston Globe, for a preview of the Massachusetts primary, which is coming up September 6th. Samantha, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Ted.
So I just want to start off with you, big picture. I've covered a lot of primary years, and it can really vary. Some years, it's the talk of the town. Even just 2 years ago, covering the Ed Markey, Joe Kennedy primary, it was a big down to the wire thing. Everyone talking about it in August. I have to say, to me, it feels a little quieter 2 years later in Massachusetts. How would you sort of describe overall the level of energy and voter interest in this year's primary races statewide in Massachusetts?
Sure. I think what's really interesting this year is that the most crowded, most contentious, kind of interesting races are not necessarily at the very top of the ticket, but are in some of the other more crowded races, like the race for attorney general, the race for lieutenant governor, the race for state auditor. These are positions that are less understood by voters, but I think there's a little bit more interest than there is at the top of the ticket. For instance, in the race, the Democratic primary for governor, where Attorney General Maura Healey is essentially running unopposed. So more interest in some of these other positions, and definitely some more debate, at the lower on the ticket.
Well, let's dive right into the governor's race first, since it is, heated or not, it's the biggest office that'll be getting filled this year. And let's look first actually at the Republican primary for governor, where we have two candidates squaring off, and they are Jeff Diehl, the former state rep who unsuccessfully challenged U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren back in 2018. He's facing Renton businessman Chris Doughty, I think it is. I realize I don't know if it's Doughty or Doughty. Maybe you can tell me on that, Samantha. And Samantha, my sense of this race is Diehl is heavily favored to win the nomination. What's your feeling about this one right now?
Yeah, Diehl has certainly been leading in the polls in this race. Like you mentioned, it is the only competitive gubernatorial primary that we're seeing this year. And both of them have been kind of ramping up their campaigns. They both had governors from other states come through in the last week or so. Kristi Noem from South Dakota coming in for Jeff Diehl on Wednesday night. And last week, New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu coming in to campaign for Doughty. So, they're definitely trying to get some more attention to this race. They had a debate last month on Howie Carr's show. It's the first and possibly only debate that they're going to have. And they're presenting themselves as pretty different candidates. Jeff Diehl has kind of presented himself as a proven conservative who will fight and win, culture war battles. He's been endorsed by former President Donald Trump. And Chris Doughty has a company in Rentham and has pitched himself as someone who can kind of juice the state's economy and talks a lot about, his experience running a company and having employees. And,
the other interesting thing, of course, Samantha, is they are seeking the Republican nomination because the most popular governor in the country, Republican Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, did not run again. And of course, we see repeatedly in polling, he's actually more popular with Democrats and independents generally in Massachusetts than the Republican base of his own GOP. How much is Baker a factor in this primary, or how much is it kind of happening almost in spite of Baker and his popularity?
Right. I mean, Baker is not present in this race. Governor Baker hasn't endorsed in this race. He didn't attend the state Republican convention this spring in Springfield. The only race that he's been involved in at the statewide level, at least, is the race for state auditor, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But he is not a presence in this race. It's not come out for either candidate, and it doesn't appear that either candidate is courting him either.
All right, well, let's look ahead a little bit to the November election for governor before we get to those other primaries. As you mentioned, Attorney General Maura Healey, so strong that she's cleared the field now. She did initially have some Democratic primary opponents. The last poll I saw, I think it might have been your poll with Suffolk University, Samantha, at the Globe, had her up roughly 30 points, which was not an outlier. I mean, I've seen the Republican Governors Association say they're not planning to invest here. I mean, it seems like she is pretty heavily favored no matter which of those Republicans comes out. They're going to have quite an uphill battle.
Certainly, she is obviously, as you mentioned, very ahead in polling, and has done some really big fundraising numbers this cycle. And like you mentioned, she is running essentially unopposed. Her main challenger, kind of up till the spring, was Senator Sonia Ching Diaz, who kind of stopped actively campaigning in June. And since then, the Attorney General has been touring the state, doing a lot of retail campaigning, kind of filling out some of her policy platforms, but isn't making huge news. Like you mentioned, she's kind of cleared her field. She has endorsed, in the Attorney General's race, but that's the only kind of big statewide endorsement that we've seen so far. And, there's a lot of eyes on her to see if she'll endorse another candidate. But for now, she's kind of focusing on, just getting to November.
And such a contrast with our other state in this region, Rhode Island, where we have this very heated primary for the Democratic nomination, which includes an incumbent governor who took over. I did see Maura Healey was in New Bedford down here last week serving food at the feast with Mayor John Mitchell. So she's still doing, as you said, some of that retail campaigning. All right, well, let's get into the other contested primaries that are maybe a little more heated than what we see at the top of the ticket. And I want to start with Attorney General. You just alluded to it, the Democratic primary for Attorney General, where we have 3 candidates seeking to succeed Maura Healey. And they are former Boston City Councilor Andrea Campbell and lawyers Quentin Palfrey and Shannon Liss-Reardon. I'd say down here, Liss-Reardon's probably on the minds even of our Rhode Island viewers because she is buying a lot of TV time. How do you handicap this one at the moment, Samantha?
It's an interesting race. It's certainly a contentious one. You know, they've had a few debates lately where they've kind of faced off to pitch themselves as the best person. Like you mentioned, you know, Shannon Liss-Reardon is doing a lot of, you know, big ad buys. She has kind of cast herself as the only candidate with the experience kind of litigating consumer and civil rights cases, kind of pitching herself as, you know, the people's attorney general before having, you know, been elected to office. And she's gotten some big labor endorsements. You know, Quentin Palfrey is a former assistant attorney general. He's kind of emphasized his independence and has suggested some of the other candidates would be more beholden to the status quo. He's getting public funding for his campaign. And he was the one who was endorsed by the state party at the Democratic convention this spring. Andrea Campbell, you know, has a lot of name recognition from her run for the mayor of Boston, former city councilor, largely focused on kind of her biography. She leaned, you know, into using her education to rise above a pretty difficult upbringing and was a lawyer in the Deval-Patrick administration for former Governor Patrick here. And yeah, was the first Black president of the Boston City Council. And so she's pretty well known. And she did get the endorsement of Maura Healey to succeed her among some other high profile endorsements. And that Healey endorsement definitely came as a, yeah, that was pretty big news.
Yeah, no small thing considering how strong she seems to be running at the top of the ticket. I also saw former Congressman Joe Kennedy, who represented this region in Congress until 2 years ago, I think also has endorsed Andrea Campbell as she tries to build up momentum. So that's the race for AG in the Democratic primary. Let's go to the race for Lieutenant Governor in the Democratic primary. Another one contest where we have 3 Democratic candidates. I should remind folks, just as Governor Baker didn't run for re-election, his Republican number 2, Karen Polito, also is not seeking re-election, which means this is an open seat this year as well. And here you see the Democratic primary. We have Salem Mayor Kim Driscoll versus 2 state senators, Eric Lesser and Tammy Gouveia. And Samantha, again, just curious, how do you handicap this one? How would you kind of sum up who's doing what in this race? Again, can be hard to get attention for an office like Lieutenant Governor where voters, I can't say they spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah, I just want to make a note that Tammy Gouveia is a state representative here in Massachusetts.
My mistake. Thank you on that.
But yeah, it's another
You see which of us is at the Globe and which of us is down here at PRI. Thanks, Samantha.
But yeah, they're trying to overcome this kind of perceived, you know, obscurity of this position. A lot of people don't really know what the lieutenant governor does, but they all are arguing that they would make a difference in the office and that they would be the best person to run alongside Maura Healey. They're all kind of faced with this concept that she is the only, you know, presumed nominee for governor, and they want to be the person who can stand next to her. And they all have pretty different backgrounds, which is interesting. You know, Senator Lesser is from Longmeadow, kind of has the Western Massachusetts experience, you know, has served in the Obama administration, big advocate for, you know, expanding rail out to Western Mass and connecting the state, which is on top of mind for a lot of voters. You know, Kim Driscoll, she has the municipal experience. A lot of people compare her to people like Lieutenant Governor Tim Murray, who was a mayor, saying that mayors do well in this role because they have the local connections and can relate to a lot of different people. You know, Tammy Gouveia is a state rep who has a public health background and talks a lot about, you know, being a single mom and kind of sharing a lot of struggles that other Massachusetts residents face and being kind of a voice for them. So it's an interesting race, 3 really different candidates, a crowded race. They're all trying to make people feel the relevancy of the lieutenant governor.
And briefly, before we go to the next race, Samantha, just to remind our Rhode Island viewers, you know, they are running in the primary independent of Maura Healey, but they will then be a ticket, but she hasn't picked one of them. So she's going to wind up in sort of an arranged marriage with whoever the Democratic primary electorate picks, right?
Correct. And unlike the Republican gubernatorial primary, where each candidate has a running mate who's running for lieutenant governor separately. That dynamic does not exist in the Democratic primary. So it will be, whoever wins, they all want that endorsement. They all want that, vote of confidence from Maura Healey. We haven't seen that yet. So, whoever wins will be, running alongside her in the fall.
And staying down the ballot, this is a race that I find interesting as a son of Massachusetts myself, someone who grew up there. The race for Secretary of State. And let's take a look. Longtime Democratic Secretary of State Bill Galvin is facing a seemingly quite strong challenge from NAACP Boston President Tanisha Sullivan. They had a debate just the other night on GBH News. And Galvin has been in office, people might recognize him even in Rhode Island, since 1994. He has faced some real challenges before. I remember last time he was on the ballot, he had, I think Josh Zakem gave him at least a bit of a run for his money. What's the feeling on Beacon Hill about this race, Samantha? Is this a real threat to Galvin after so many years? Is he seen as safe? What do people think is going on with this one?
Yeah, this is a really competitive race, and it's really interesting to see them kind of talk about their vision for the role where, Galvin has led it for nearly 3 decades. He says that he has the trusted of, voters, that he's experienced to do the job, while, Tanisha Sullivan has a different vision for the office, saying that she wants to reshape it and bring kind of fresh ideas. For instance, she made news this week saying that abortion protections are an important part of the role, and some other things that maybe people don't necessarily associate with the Secretary of State's office. People kind of compare her sometimes to Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who challenged Mike Capuano in 2019, who was also a really long-serving, popular congressman. So she did get the nomination of the Democratic Party at their convention, but in 2018, Bill Galvin lost the nomination to Josh Zakem, and he was still able to beat him in the primary. So it'll be an interesting one to watch. It's contentious. It's two, very different types of candidates running, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Galvin's earned his Beacon Hill nickname, the Prince of Darkness, for a reason. We'll see if he can conjure up another win this year. All right, let's look at, you mentioned it earlier, I'd say the obscurest of these state offices, yet a really challenged, contested primary for state auditor. Again, a job, I don't even know how many people realize this job exists, thinking about generally that's elected, but here's your candidate, State Senator Diana DiZoglio versus former Deval Patrick administration official Chris Dempsey. As I said, this is a pretty low-profile office, let alone a low-profile election, but you wouldn't know it from these two in the GBH News debate the other night. They were really going after each other. Again, any feel for this, or is it just hard to say who is going, Samantha, to how voters are even going to decide in an office they don't pay much attention to?
Yeah, this is a hard one to say. In polling, it's not been, there's not been a huge gap between them. I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand what this role is, and so these candidates are tasked with really trying to make it relevant, which I think is why it's become, kind of a big talker of a race. Suzanne Bump, who's the current state auditor of Massachusetts, is one of only 2 people to have this role since 1987. So I don't think there's a lot of, awareness this could be a competitive race until now, as it's starting to heat up a bit. And she, Auditor Bump has endorsed Chris Dempsey, but Diana DiZoglio has a lot of endorsements from labor groups and some others. And she's, served in the legislature for a decade, and she's competing, with someone who's served under Governor Patrick as the Assistant Secretary of Transportation. He's done some transportation advocacy. So they both have a little bit of name recognition. She's, despite having served for a decade, has cast herself as kind of a political outsider. She's known for kind of pushing and challenging the legislature at its time in office, fighting for more transparency and accountability. Chris Dempsey has pitched himself as someone who has executive level experience to be, really independent and collect data. The role of the auditor is to kind of look at all of the state agencies at least once every couple of years, which is a big role. So he's kind of pitched himself as someone who can take that on.
And we only have about a little over a minute left, Samantha. I do want to just show viewers one other race. This is a regional race, but in our region, that's an important one. This is for Bristol County Sheriff. Now, we have all the candidates on there because longtime Republican incumbent Thomas Hodgson is, I believe, unopposed in the Republican primary. He's going to face one of the three Democrats you see there on your screen: Attleboro Mayor Paul Heroux, Fall River Attorney Nick Bernier, and George McNeil, former police chief. And this is interesting in part because Hodgson's been there since 1997. Charlie Baker has endorsed him. And just 20 seconds on this, Samantha. Republicans, once Baker is out, they will not have many people left. Hodgson will be one of their more prominent officials in Massachusetts.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, with Baker kind of leaving, I think that there's a lot of questions about what the future of the Republican Party looks like. So, with some of the candidates running, I think that they're trying to shape, in what direction the party goes. I think that's kind of left to be seen once Baker's out of office. All
right. Well, a fantastic cheat sheet for our viewers down here. I'd argue for Rhode Island and Massachusetts it matters. So our Rhode Island viewers, I'm glad they're up to speed as well. Samantha Gross of the Boston Globe, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Before we go, we want to remind our Massachusetts viewers of some key dates. August 27th is the last day to register to vote in the primary. That's the same day in-person early voting begins. 2 days later, August 29th, is the last day to apply for a mail ballot. And then September 6th, the big day, that's the primary election. And of course, 12 News is your local election headquarters. We are going to have complete coverage of the primaries in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, if we have been, including a new exclusive poll of Rhode Island Democratic primary voters Tuesday night. We'll see you then, and Tim White will be back next week on Newsmakers.